Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Red Pill Diaries. I'm your host, your brother, and your friend, Rashid. And man, they are up to these crazy games again. Right before the show, both of my screens over here went down, lost all of the information that I had up here. And it took me a extra minute or so to get live because every time I hit go live, something would pop up on my StreamYard saying that you're having problems going live. Please check your internet connection. And I'm looking over here, and it says strong internet connection. And I had already called my internet provider to shoot the signal through to make sure everything was cool. And they're telling me that that I must try again, and finally it came through. So I want to thank God for allowing us to have another show today because it seemed like it wasn't going to happen. All right. Especially with all of the mess behind closed doors with this stuff. And my son is gone today, so I don't, I'm not tech savvy, so I can't handle some of the stuff. But I want to thank each and every one of you for giving me your time today. Today's show is called E-Day, Two Sides of the Same Coin. All right. Why is it E-Day? Election Day. Or as I like to say, and as Gregory Mannarino likes to say, and now even Gerald Celente says selection. So it is not an election, it's a selection. Remember that. For it to be an election, there must be a willingness of the power, the elites, to allow those whom they govern to have a say in who governs them, right? For it to be an election, there must be votes from the masses of the people for this candidate or that candidate, right? So we know this is all Walt Disney today. But I wanted to just address a few things. Try not to go long. Shout out to Ned Rando in the building. I just want, just a feedback of you guys. So I'm listening to a lot of stuff, and I'm apolitical, and I tell it like it is. And so many people have their hopes pinned on what's her name? Kamala Harris. And so many have their hopes pinned on Donald Trump. And it is so amazing that they go through this cycle every 4 years, believing that the system will not chew these people up. And I asked the question, show me the candidate that the system hasn't chewed up and spit out or changed them, right? Every one of the candidates come in with good promises and I'll do this and this will never happen on my watch and blah, 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 right? And when you try to do something, guess what happens? A JFK happens. Hardy happens, or a Lincoln happens, right? Every time. Now, Trump is outside the norms of politics, and this is what I'm saying to you all, because he's not a politician by trade. He's I would say a businessman. His acumen in business, I don't know about that, but because the man filed bankruptcy a whole bunch of times, all right? If the average person filed bankruptcy as many times as he did, then we would not be looked upon as great strategists, okay? Great investors, all right? So, what? Man, hey, you guys, I'm not kidding you guys. I'm talking to you guys, and my internet, my virus text is blocking porn spam while I'm talking to you guys. Porn spam. XNX. What the heck is that? XNX. Something like that. Porn spam while I'm talking to you guys live on there about politics and geopolitics. It's man, it doesn't get more crazier than this, right? So I'm gonna go to y'all. Look, I'm gonna post it in a second in the chat, okay? But listen, Trump is outside the norms of politics. All right. because he is not the average politician. But that does not mean that he does not have the same inclinations of politicians, because remember, he ran in the same circle as Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Let's not forget that. He and Jeffrey Epstein were good friends. The same as with Biden and, well, I won't say Biden, but Obama and all of these. Jeffrey Epstein was their boy. That was, you know what I mean? That was their boy. So even though he might not have the same political inclinations fully, we know that all of these people are connected. They're interconnected. And every 4 years, they run this cycle. Well, if we get the White House or we get such and such, things will change. And if we look at a track record, let's pretend that this is the court of law, right? And you and I are sitting behind the stand. We're not taking the stand. We're the judges, okay? And they bring in Trump. They bring in Kamala. They bring in the track record of both people, and they bring in the track record of the previous leaders. And we look at it as they're presenting it. We do just like the judges do. While they're talking and trying to convince you of who they are, the judge looks down at the history of that person or those persons, right? The judge is reading the history, the legal history of those people. What are they inclined to do? What have they done? What have they said they would do? What did they get accused of doing? What does it look like they've done? He's looking at all of that as the person is talking. All right. I've seen a lot of these not judge shows, but these criminal court proceedings and stuff. And you'll look up from time to time, or she'll look up from time to time, and to look as though there's impartiality on their part, ask a few questions and go back to looking at and reading the history. So now, when we look at that, we have to do that with the system. When has the system allowed for someone to come into the system and change the system? And if it has not happened, and if people try to do it, we have to look at what happened to those people who tried to do it. All right? And now we have a track record of Kamala, 4 years as vice president. What have they brought us? War, destruction, disillusionment, dissatisfaction, a contracting empire, a declining dollar, ethnic and racial strife all across not just the country, but across the planet, anywhere that America has touched down. That's what Kamala, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, and that crew has brought. Now, if we're going to be impartial, we must judge the other candidate by the same standard, not give them a little leeway because we may have a little political or financial leaning towards them. So we have a track record of Donald Trump also. And when we look at Donald Trump's track record, just like we just shortly analyzed that of Kamala, what has Trump done? He said he was going to get us out of Syria. Did he get us out? No, it's the general's fault. He said he was going to, he called Soleimani to come negotiate to help attack ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He assassinated. Then took full credit for it, but it's the general's fault, right? Trump didn't do it. They did it outside of the scope of what Trump said, but Trump took full credit for it, all right? Trump bombed Syria illegally, right? He said he wanted to get us out of these entanglements in the Middle East and bring the troops back. Did that happen? Right? He started an economic trade war with America's #1 lender, which meant that the people in America had to pay more for the goods that they once received at a cheaper price from China. Again, if we are the judges and we're looking at the track record of both candidates, we have to come to the conclusion on this day, E-Day or election day, that these are just two sides of the same coin. Not coin, but con. The system will eat them alive. Listen, I want you to understand something. This is what everybody forgets. You cannot ascend in America. There are control levels. You cannot ascend to certain levels of power or popularity without being compromised. They compromise you in certain ways. All one has to do is Google it. See who these guys used to hang out with. These girls used to hang out with. We know Kamala used to hang out with the mayor in Washington. She hung out with what was the talk show host name? And it's just as clear as day. He was a captain in the Navy. What is his name? Montel something. It slips my mind. Montel something. Because I don't watch talk shows like that. So, but then we look at all of the elbow rubbing with Hillary Clinton with Trump. Now Hillary Clinton is the worst person in the world to Trump. The elbow rubbing with Bill Clinton. Now Bill Clinton is the worst person in the world to Trump. Jeffrey Epstein. Nobody talks about the relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. You see how there's a surviving Diddy? You see how they're talking about the people who went to circle and listen. I think the Diddy thing is a distraction. Honestly, I believe it is. And there is a thing for black men in America that they have to go through when they're in those heights, just like other people, to get to a certain. And if they violate and do something outside of the norm, you become Bill Cosby, you become R. Kelly. Nobody said anything about Elvis marrying a 14, 15-year-old girl and had plenty of those. Nobody said anything about Jerry Lee Lewis with a 13, 14-year-old girl. These people, nobody said anything about Hugh Hefner, who was trafficking little girls. Right? Nobody said a word about that. Am I justifying P. Diddy? No. But I'm saying that to say you don't ascend to certain positions without being compromised. Okay? And when you've used out your utility, you become surviving P. Diddy. And so I brought that up to say they talk about some of the freak-offs and all of this stuff. What the hell do you think was going on Jeffrey Epstein's Island? Bill Clinton was there. Donald Trump was there on multiple occasions. These people, bro, listen to me good. You guys have selective memory, selective amnesia. You push out the stuff that you don't agree with, and you accept the stuff that you agree with. And that is not how life is. You've got to take the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. What the hell do you think was going on Pedophilia Island? Nobody brought that up. No, not one time during the campaign trail. Nobody. Why? Because all of them are compromised. Talk back. You know what? I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Okay? Give me 1 second here. I'm going to show you guys just how easy it is. Don't get mad at me. Be mad at the truth. Just give me 1 second, everybody. Man, here they are with this spamming my computers. All of them. You son, bro. Hold on there. Hold on a second, everybody. All right. All righty. Hold on, everybody. Give me a second. I'm just gonna, and you'll see the key words I put up in here. All right. Now, the same questions that are asked about P. Diddy, why are they asked about Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, if Obama was there, Obama, and the rest? Because remember, the same stuff, but even more egregious things took place on Epstein's Island. And if they did, and we know they did, and these people were there, why do they get a pass? Because they're conning you guys. That's why. Man, I'm telling you. Listen, I'm going to pull up something. I'm going to show you just how easy it is. All right. And remember, your boy is not tech savvy, tech literate. All right. So if I can do this, you're telling me these people can't do this that are talking. Look, and you'll see the key words too. I'm pulling it up right now. I want you to just look at this. Where's my computer? All right. Shout out to Vera. Shout out to Nick Hall. Shout out to Joel Bradford in the building. Shout out to P1. Shout out to, I apologize, Miss Perseverance Chameleon. I apologize. She knows what I'm talking about. Hit the like button also. All right. Now, look at the words at the top that I put in the search engine. Look at this photo. The one that's highlighted. I don't know if it's going to highlight on your screen. Let me see. It's highlighted on my screen. Yeah. It's to my right, which should be to your left. That is Donald Trump, some girl, Jeffrey Epstein, and the madam of Jeffrey Epstein, the one who used to get the young girls, the little boys and all that stuff and bring and charter their flights. Huh? I didn't make this up. Am I coming at Trump any kind of? No. What I'm trying to tell you is these people are not as upstanding as you would think they are. And on multiple occasions, you can see I'm just scrolling. Take this off right here. And I'm going to show, look at the different pictures. I didn't take any of those pictures. Just look. I'm scrolling. Look at them. Look at them chilling at a party. They have videos of them talking about a girl dancing into her booty and all of this stuff. I'm going to put the cursor. Let me see if this cursor, if you can see the cursor. Okay. It's on. Let's see on it. Let's see. All right. That picture, there's a video of them talking about the butt and how bad the chick is in front of them. Right? No lie. That's the video. You can actually click on that picture and hear it and see it. All right. Now, am I coming against him for the sake of Kamala? Bro, if anybody knows me, know that I give two flips about Kamala. But what I'm doing, I'm showing you that what they're feeding you is Walt Disney, this illusion of ethics and more from these candidates. And in reality, these people are living sepulchres. You know what a sepulchre is, right? You know a sepulchre, a grave. You know, where all the bones are buried. Let me take this off the screen for a minute. Now, I did that in a matter of seconds. You telling me all of these prognosticators, all of these pundits, all of these analysts, all of these platforms, all of these television shows, all of these news sites cannot pick up any of that, does not know any of that, when a lot of the people who are reporting also was on Epstein's Island. And if it was as heinous as it has been reported, it is so heinous that they had to redact some of the files of what took place and who were on those manifests and who were on those flights to and fro and who was on the flights with them. That's how heinous it was. So we got a surviving Diddy, but we don't have a surviving Kamala or surviving Barack or surviving Trump or surviving Bill Clinton. Why? Why? Look, Nick Hall says this. Yeah, Nick, I'm gonna put this up. Boom. The photos go back a long way. That's what I'm saying. So if these photos go back a long way, then that means that this stuff was taking place a long time. So for those of you who are talking about such and such is a man of God or a Christian or Kamala Harris hates God, you can say what you want, right? But your actions will show us who you are, right? Isn't that right? You have all of these preachers, imams, and rabbis talking about God. And then when they leave the synagogue, the temple, the masjid or mosque, or the church, or the cathedral, they are super freaks. They are Rick James incarnate. Super freak, super freaky. Yeah, that's what they are. And if you were a fly on the wall and could see this, it would change your mind. And the system allows for this to happen. Why? Why did it go so long before they moved against Diddy? Right? I'm talking about this. I'm intertwining this to show you. Because Diddy sued the parent company of and I'm not excusing what took place, okay? But we got to connect the dots. He sued the parent tequila company that he had for racism and for extortion and for not paying out what they were supposed to pay. And he had just won. He just won. And he did an interview about how, hey man, I'm fighting. If people think that I'm not fighting racism, but I'm fighting racism too. His problem was he pissed off the people who he worked for. Immediately after that, they hired investigators to go find out a lot of his shenanigans. That's why when the feds came in, they went straight to the main mansion. They hit 3 or 4 mansions, and they were looking for tapes. All right, listen to what I'm saying to you, because the tequila company or that big corporation that he was making money off of, billions, they got the inside drop on it, and they have connections with the DA, the DEA, and all of these other. So they pushed in to try to capture the tapes before he could hide the tapes. Right? Why didn't anybody do that to Epstein? You know, when they found out that Epstein had recorded everything, they suicided him. Because there was too many powerful so-called royals, congressmen and women, presidents and prime ministers that had an affiliation, a connection with that. And one of them was Mr. Donald Trump. No lie. But we're surviving R. Kelly. We're surviving Diddy. But nobody talks about surviving Hugh Hefner. Nobody talks about surviving Jeff Epstein or what was the crook that stole trillions of dollars and went to the feds. What is his name? Started that economic crisis. What was his name? The Jewish fellow. I forget his name. Nobody talks about that. But we're focused on trivial things as not to focus on what was going on here. Tell me this. What is more detrimental to America? And let's be honest about this stuff. What is more detrimental to America's ethics and morals? Is it a music star that is allegedly having all of these freak-offs, which we know that if you look into the autobiography a lot of these music stars, these rock stars, they told you that they did stuff like that, right? So people want to live the rock star life because of that, because they have that ingrained in them. What is more detrimental, that or politicians that come before you as these upstanding, moral, religious people, and behind closed doors or with 12-year-old boys and girls on an island outside of America's jurisdiction, huh? Having freak-off parties, manifest lists. They had their own planes to pick these people up and take them there. They were that's what trafficking is. They were kidnapping kids, taking them to that island. And on the manifest, one of the people who visited the island frequently is one of the candidates for the election today. Huh? I didn't make it up. I just showed you pictures. Huh? So this is an E-Day or election day, and these are two sides of the same coin. I just so happen to believe that this is the last president of the Republic of the United States of America. I believe that this will be the last one. Because so many things are unhinged. You have a political divide, you have an ethnic divide, you have a racial divide, you have a economic divide so great that it's hard to bridge the gap, especially when they continue to feed the fires. Then you have an America that is in military decline. Not that guy, Perseverance Chameleon, the one that stole the trillions. I know who you're talking about, Sam Bankman-Fried. Yeah, that Jewish guy. But the one, God dog, Murdoch. What is it? It was right on my tongue. Oh my God. I forget this guy's name, and nobody else talks about him no more. The man stole. He has set up a Ponzi scheme and stole trillions of dollars, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. Nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. He rubbed elbows with all of those elite. Trump, Kamala, Biden, and all of the rest of them. This man stole hundreds of billions of dollars. Bernie Madoff. That's what it, Joel Bradford, thank you right there. Bernie Madoff. That's right. Yeah, he made off with a lot of money. He had the right name, Madoff. But we're going to say Madoff. Bernie Madoff. He made off with billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. That's what we're going to say. All right. So, hold on. They are still spamming my computer. If you guys could see from this angle what's going on, my virus protection is, oh man, it's on overdrive on all of this. I guess we're tearing a lot of people off. Now, the reason I say I'm apolitical, I call it ace and a spade, and I call it, and I don't care if people get mad because I have no political affiliation. I don't believe in the political system. I believe, what did I tell you guys what my sister told me? When a person shows you who they are, believe them. America has shown me that they don't care about the vets. Hey, I was looking at something, this vet, speaking of that, yesterday, a few, I get alerts from a lot of stuff. So I'm reading a few articles, and a few vets were complaining. I got to bring this up because I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up. And they were not getting their checks. And one lady, her husband served in multiple wars, right? And do you know that she is owed money? And Jamie Dimon of Goldman Sachs owes her and her family money. They won't give this woman her money. They won't even give her $300 and some to pay her immediate bills. Talking about her ID is questionable. The woman has all kinds of proof who she is, and they won't give it to her. And I was reading when I was finishing that article, I was seeing how the government is refusing to give checks to certain people in the military claiming that they owe the government money. And that's something to go to war for the government, come back, and then the government says, hey, we're going to deduct this out of your check because we feel that we overpaid you. How the hell can you overpay me for my life? You can always print money. You can never print a life. This is what I'm saying. When the system shows you what it is, believe it. $20 billion to eradicate homelessness. They don't have that, but they have it for Ukraine. When the system shows you who they are or who it is, believe it. The corruption of the system where you have lobbyists, those are people paid, they are paid by companies to go bribe your elected officials. That's what that is. They put it in a fancy name, lobbyists. These are people paid to bribe your elected officials. And then they write the legislation, the officials put their stamp of approval on it and push it through. When the system shows you what it is, believe it. How in the hell can you go into Congress $50,000 in debt and 5 years later you're worth $7 million, but your salary is only $200,000? When the system shows you who it is and what it is, what are you supposed to do? Believe it. Now, let me go to something Ping One says. Well, Nick Hall, let me go to Nick first. Pedro says the father of Ghislaine. I didn't know Madoff was that. Maybe you're going to have to drop something else in the chat to clarify what you're saying, Pedro, because that's interesting what you just said. Nick Hall says, I don't vote anymore. Stop giving their system my authority. You better believe it. Now, this is what a lot of people don't understand either. They say, vote or die. This is your voice. And then after the election, they ignored our voice, right? Listen, if you put people don't they skip over this part. If America is out there robbing, killing, bombing, and occupying nations, and you have put your stamp of approval, regardless of which candidate you've done, you've indulged in that. You are being represented by that person, so you are just as guilty as that person. If I'm walking to school with someone or walking to the store with somebody, right, with two people, and I tell them, look, man, what you're doing is wrong. I am not going into this store and rob this store. And they go into the store, and I'm standing there, and when they run out, I run with them. Guess what they call me? An accomplice. So when you give them your approval, when you give the system your approval, you become just as guilty as those who are implementing the crooked policies. Now, let me go to something that Ping One says. All right. Ping One, I'll put it up on the screen. Ping One says, the evil of two lessers. And that's a good way to say it. But listen, it doesn't matter if Kamala gets in. If she gets in, she's going to continue the policies of Biden, probably with a little twitch to it. Now, here's the kicker. Didn't Biden continue the policies of Trump with a little twist to it? And then Trump continued the policy of his predecessor with a little twist to it? Have they withdrawn any of the U.S. troops from military bases around the globe? No. Have they stopped bombing and infringing upon the sovereignty of other nations? No. Have they stopped using sanctions as a tool of war against lesser nations? No. Have they started to try to talk to people to find out those people's interests so that they can come to some type of agreement to bring about peace? No. But have they amped up the military budget? Obama said he amped it up. Trump came in bragging that he did more. Guess what happened? When Biden came in, he gave it more than what Trump gave it. Evil is evil. Right? This is what I'm telling you. And I talk to you guys like this because I know no one else is. Because a lot of these people, they believe, and I understand, they want to believe that this person will bring about change. They have a longing for something else. Some may have a Democratic leaning, some may have a Republican leaning, some may have a so-called quote unquote green or independent leaning. But in reality, the system is what it is. You can put a dress on it, you can put jeans on it, it's still the same system. And it's inherently racist, corrupt, fascist, and none caring about the people whom it governs. You think I'm lying? If it cared, then why do we have close to 40 million people homeless or 50 million people homeless? Why is there a big substance abuse problem that is not being checked by the military against veterans? Because they come home broken, hurt. They come home feeling neglected and rejected and ignored after serving in these people's wars, huh? The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. And if you don't play ball, if you don't sacrifice your ethics, your morals, your humanity, then you don't get the spoils that others do. I was looking at, to speak of that, that's a good segue. I was looking at my right before the show, maybe about 3 or 4 minutes before the show was on, as I was trying to pull back up the screens. On this screen, I was looking at it was on this screen before it went down. I was looking at my number count. All right. My subscriber number count. And once again, it tanked again. And I just shook my head. I said, man, if I played ball, I would be at 200,000-300,000, right? If I played ball. But I don't play ball with them. I go on the other basketball court and play ball. That basketball court of trying to do right. When I was a child, I did childish things, right? But now that I'm an adult, I put away those childish things. So money doesn't fascinate me. Yeah, I need money. Hell, I got bills to pay. They still froze my account. I'm getting that Scott Ritter treatment behind closed doors. They still pull my spark plugs out of my car. They still messed with my wife's car. Messed with her cables, her battery, and her starter. These are new cars. Pretty much so, maybe 2 years old or something like that. The dead chicken in the yard. Right? The power is flicking on and off. I'm dealing with mine. But if I played ball, then I would receive more. Every time somebody subscribes, they unsubscribe them or unsubscribe more. When the count goes up, it goes down. When the viewership goes up, it goes down. And now I've noticed that it's happening a little bit more frequently on Rumble. I got to say this to Rumble. I've noticed that it's not in tens and 30s and hundreds clips like on YouTube, but it's being done in increments of 3, 5, and 10s. I've noticed that. So I'm putting the word out to let you know that I know these things. But I'm not going to play ball. Hell, I got my own ball. I'm a grown man, and I've been grown for a long time now. Yeah, shout out to Random is I always butcher Random's name, so I just say Random. Random. Now let me go here real quick. Nick Hall says they don't want to hear the truth, brother Rashid. You speak truth eloquently. I appreciate it. I'm just a country boy, and I'm just telling you what should be common. We look at this stuff, and common sense is not so common anymore. And you get blasted for being what should be the norm. You get blasted. I do a show It'll show me 100 people in the um, dashboard, and I'll look on the main screen, the YouTube screen, and it'll say 35 people or 25 people. And I'm like, huh? And so after the show goes over, and we know there's at least 65, it'll say 7 likes, 10 views. And I'm like, man, you gotta be. I understand. See, people will catch on to that. I think I got something on my phone. Hold on one second. Let me show you something real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's see if I got it. I had it because I was doing an article about it a while ago, and I think I saved it. Everybody give me a second while I'm talking to you all, because this is great. This has to do with Larry Johnson, okay? All right. Give me a second. I'm scrolling my history. So it's going to take a second, everybody. Just give me a second. I see that one. I see that one. I see that one. So it's got to be the other way. Hold on 1 second. Let me move this out of the way. This is about Larry Johnson. Let's see if I can. I know I'm close to it. Did I delete it? I thought I had it on here last night because I saw it. Larry Johnson. Hold on, everybody. Matter of fact, let me play a little clip. I don't like the dead silence. So hold on 1 second. Let me just play a little clip here. All right. And then we'll come back after the clip. All right.
And de-dollarization of the world economy that I have already mentioned is another step in that direction. The share of national currencies in Russia's settlements with SCO countries and Eurotech countries has exceeded 90%. And in BRICS, we're about to hit the 65% mark. And this figure is growing. Russia will continue playing an important role in this process, considering our position as the 4th biggest economy, according to the IMF, in global purchasing parity, and work on creating new payment platforms started in BRICS under Russian chairmanship and will be continued by our Brazilian counterparts in 2025. Experts forecast not only an increase in the share of national currencies in the world trade, but also the formation of several macro regions with their own standards, norms, regulations, and added value chains. In a situation where egotistical actions of the United States brought to a situation where the once global system is quickly getting fragmented, the trust towards dollar is falling quickly. But in any situation, we will continue strengthening the mechanisms of the Eurasian Economic Union, the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and other structures in the Eurasian continent and other parts of the world, opening new horizons of truly beneficial and equal cooperation that benefits all its members without exclusion.
So I'm looking at, hold on 1 second, everybody. I'm looking at something and I'm trying to find, let me see. Let me see if I can put it up on Sonar 21 because it's in my, let's see. There's links. Because I've been on Sonar 21 multiple times. That's a good website. That's Larry Johnson's website. It's called Sons of, I forget what it was called. Oh, all right. I think I found it. All right. I think that was it. Hold on 1 second, everybody. I think I found it. All right, here. Yeah, I found it. See, this is what I'm telling you. There's no excuse because I'm not savvy in computers. You know, I didn't come up when I was in high school. We may have had a computer, but we were learning to type and typing. Okay, so You may have had a computer room or something like this, but these children, they are born coming out, boom, knowing how. My son was doing apps when he was like 2 years old, something like that. They laugh at me. Dad, when I get on my phone, Dad, just give me the phone. You don't know where your notes are. And, they laugh at me. My children do that. They laugh at me about stuff like that. But I want you to listen to what Larry said here. All right. If you don't believe what I'm saying about them suppressing my numbers, on one of the articles, this was published on Larry's Sonar 21, Sons of the Revolution. I think it's Sons of the American Revolution. I think that's what it is. Sons of the American Revolution. All right. And on February 26, 2024, published by Larry Johnson on Sonar 21. And his article is titled Two New Podcasts and dash Anya K and Rashid, plus The Mouse That Roared. And then here, we're going to read, because it's short. I want to read something what he had to say about yours truly. Okay? I'm going to read something to you guys. So I'm not just doing this out the blue. In the lanes of the people in the know, they respect me and they know my political and my religious standing. I don't compromise with them. I talk to them and tell, hey, this is where I stand. This is what I believe. And this is this. And they respect me for that. And they say it needs to be more people like you. So listen what it says. It says, one of the beautiful things about the internet is that it opens up the world to a variety of voices. Anya K and Rashid Muhammad are two excellent examples of this. Anya is a smart lady who currently lives in Poland, and Rashid is a great American, and he thought I was living in St. Louis. Later on, after this, we laughed about it. We had a joke about it in St. Louis. But I'm living on the coast, the southern coast. I'm in the panhandle of the South, okay? But listen, it says, the only flaw that both have is that they think I'm worth talking to and regularly give me an opportunity to discuss the latest going on in Ukraine and the Middle East. Anya invited Andrei Martinov, and I know I'm butchering his name. I'm sorry, Andrei. And don't take it to my heart. I'm sorry, Andrei. I don't mean to butcher your name. And it says, and me to do a deep dive on Ukraine. I love being able to have a discussion with Andrei. I have learned a lot from him. His book should be must reading at all U.S. military academies. Listen to this. Rashid, listen to what he says here. So if I'm suspect, why would someone who used to be a chief analyst for the CIA and has his own intelligence company, this is what he had to say about me. Rashid is my brother from another mother. He has a very small audience. Frankly, he merits having at least 100,000 subscribers. Rashid is a smart man who is anything but parochial. That's what Larry says about me. All right. So when I'm telling you these things, these are not from the back room or in the bathroom and the thought just appeared. I'm telling you these things because other people think them and they just can't say it. You understand? Now, here is something else. Let me go here. He says this on another live video. Rashid is a smart, well-read gentleman. Please enjoy. That's what he says there. And on this one, he says, it is always a treat to have a chat with Rashid. The man is blessed with a load of common sense. Sonar 21. All one has to do to see what I'm saying is put this in the search engine. Larry Johnson, Sonar 21, The Red Pill Diaries. Speaks for itself, right? Not one time have I compromised on my beliefs, on my ethics, on my morals. I'm not talking about the person I was before I had knowledge of who I am. I'm not talking about when I was young and rule. I'm talking about the person that God has made me to be today. And I am forever in his debt and show gratitude by doing what I'm doing. So in the chat at the Red Pill Diaries, let's see. We'll put this on the screen if they allow it. Pedro, my guy. He says at the Red Pill Diaries, sorry, man, I joined the conversation halfway through. Robert Maxwell, father of Ghislaine, CEO of Mirror Group newspapers, he stole the employees' pension funds worth millions. See, I didn't make it. He also ratted out Mordecai Vanunu, the Israeli whistleblower on their nuclear program. This enabled Mossad to grab him and return him to Israel at 25 years jail. Yeah. Pedro, what is doing? The man across the pond, dropping a lot of knowledge. Nick Hall says, I agree. I think he was talking about what I was reading. But what I'm saying to you is this. These people, they have selective memories. I'm talking about the masses of the people because they have a political leaning or a religious affiliation. Let me tell you something. Truth should trump race, religion, politics, or economics. Truth should trump that because God is the God of truth, right? And that's what he wants. So it trumps everything that everybody has a leaning towards. So if somebody, even if they are a liar, if they tell you the truth, you don't have to accept them, accept the truth that came out of their mouth. And these people are running a con against the people. They're running a con on you, making you believe that this is a representative democracy. How in the hell can this be a representative democracy when they have delegates? And the delegates can overrule the masses of the people. How is this a democracy when you have had presidents win the majority vote and lose the delegate vote? Huh? Or lose the delegate vote, or win the delegate vote, lose the majority vote. Tell me that. And anytime somebody says, hey, let's rid ourselves of that and do this. No. Because they see an advantage in it. And the power brokers will never willingly give up their position of authority. And Nick Hall says this. You should have 100,000 subscribers was the bid I was agreeing with. All right. That's what. All right. I'm glad you clarified that. Thank you. I'm going to leave that up there. They suppressed the numbers. Look at my my interviews. Go back and look at the people I've interviewed. And some of the people I've interviewed are not even on YouTube. I'm talking about big wigs that I haven't even brought some of their interviews over to YouTube. Some of them I just have. I have Cynthia McKinney from 2009. I have Ray McGovern from 2009. I have just the former Black Panther Party leader. I had scholars from Mecca, scholars. I had diverse conversations with scholars in the United States, professors. I have not even put on the channel. If I only reached 4,000 people, why would that be? Do you know? Let me tell you how upstanding Gregory Mannarino is. All right, I got to put this out there. I got to bring up Greg for a minute. So I noticed that when I was doing the channel, my channel wouldn't grow because I was going into the numbers, and I'm saying, look at the numbers, look at what they said then, and look at what they say now. It doesn't match. I was doing it so my channel wouldn't even grow. So I hit Greg up. This is the God honest truth. This is why I'm saying this guy, he's a stand-up guy. And I said, Greg, I would like to have you on my channel. I say, I know that it seems like I have 2 subscribers, but they're doing that to my channel. I would like for you to come on my channel and explain to the people, even if they don't watch it right now, later on, maybe months or weeks later, they'll look at it. I want you to explain what's going on. It was not, and I'm not exaggerating this, it was not 45 minutes later, Greg hit me back and said, man, stop it. No sweat, guy. When do you want to do it? I know you're an upstanding guy, man. Let's do it. Now, who can muster somebody like Gregory Mannarino, but the charts, but the numbers say 2 subscribers? Tell me that. Tell me. I'm asking you guys. So we don't pay particular a particular large amount of time to the numbers because they suppress them. But what we're going to try to pay attention to is the details. Because if they're doing this to me, they're doing it for a reason. They're doing it to prevent the people from paying attention to the truth on the platform. I interviewed the former U.S. Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, Paul Craig Roberts. He and I had communicated a few times. And let me tell you, because I'm trying to show you how things are. Not how you want them to be, but how they are. So I contacted him and he was like, nah, I don't. This was a while ago. This was maybe 2 years ago. Nah. And I'm like, nah. And he's like, nah. He said, maybe later, check. But he did it cordial. Listen, he did it cordial. So a year past, I hit him up again because I like to get everybody's perspective. Even if I don't agree with you on everything. I feel like there's gems in everything, you know? So I hit him back up again and he was like, maybe we can. And then then he contacted me and said, yeah, maybe we can. Then something happened and he said, I'll get back with you. Time passed. So I hit him back again and he says, I'm gonna put that on the screen, Vera, in just a minute. I hit him back and he says, Rashid, give me a week. He says, and I'll get back with you. Give me 1 week. He got back with me less than 1 week. He had his person get back with me. And so we agreed to a show. But then, and he and I are just about an hour away from each other, right? And just like what happens to me happened to him, when he agreed to the show, his internet went down for days. Ask him this, okay? And then when it finally came up, his associate contacted me and says, are you still wanting the interview? And I said, yes. And so they said, contact him at this. So I contacted him and he was like, yeah, we can do it. What day would be fine? He said, listen, don't send me the link to the show because, I'll forget it. Send me the link to the show the morning of the show. I said, cool. Thank you so much, Mr. Roberts. He comes on the show. We talk. If you go to part 4 of that 4-part series, in there he says, I know you. I know of you. I've heard of you. And he gives me a lot of good praise. The former Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Treasury. So if this is the case with people in the know, how in the hell am I at 4,000 subscribers? Vera says it like this. Rashid, you should have way over 100,000 subscribers. Boom goes the dynamite. Now that there, boom, is a mic drop moment. So I'm saying this to tell you that, look, the system is going to do anything and everything to impede anyone who will tell the truth. They will embrace anyone that will lie or bend the truth a little bit or compromise for financial gain. If you look at most of the what are they doing? They're attacking us. Hold on 1 second, everybody. They're trying to shut my computers down. Oh man, come on. You gotta be. Oh, here we are. We're back up. Woo! Woo! Live on air. Anyway, so Oh, that's my son. He made it back. Anyway, so they will do anything to impede the truth, anything. And if you look at the and I'm not talking about all the big channels, so don't take this as an attack on or slander against the big channel. But some of the channels have become businesses, right? This, and when we're all businesses on here, but I'm saying businesses. And so they have investors. So they have, whenever you have a corporation, whenever you have a company, right? When you're solo or when you're coming up, you can say what you want to, but when you have people putting in money, they have input. So sometimes you have to suppress what you say or kind of omit certain things or have a leaning towards a certain way, which to me, if you don't tell the people, to me, that's underhanded. I think you should tell the people. People are more receptive if you just look at them in the eye and talk to them and tell them the truth. Why won't these people look at you in the eye and tell you the truth? That's the same thing they're doing with this election. They're lying to the people on a major scale. And that's why if you look at the thumbnail, it has a coin, but and it shows the reflective sides of the coin. And on one coin, you have Kamala Harris. And on the other side of the coin, you have Donald Trump. And I use wordplay instead of con, because this is a political con to suppress the people or to make people have a sigh of relief for just 1 second. Whoever candidate wins, a sigh of relief. We won. And then the things go back to how they used to be. I was looking at something also as the clip was playing that I played earlier. And do you know businesses are boarding up? A lot of businesses are boarding up. I didn't know this. See, I'm not afraid to tell you what I don't know. I did not know this, and had I not caught that update on the news, I would still be in the dark about this, because they are fearful of election day violence and rioting and fighting, or the imposition of open martial law. How is that a reflection of the so-called greatest democracy on the planet Earth? Huh? How is that a reflection of live and let live? You win some, you lose some. Everybody is for the greater good. What that shows us is a spiraling downturn of the American Republic and the American Empire, where you're not allowed to have differing views, speak differing opinions. And as I often say, I say, isn't it something? This is supposed to be called the land of the free, where you're supposed to be able to enjoy the rights of free speech, right? And you have the right to say anything that is derogatory towards Jesus, Muhammad, and all of the prophets of God. But you cannot question the Holocaust. You can't question the elections and the integrity of the elections, but you can question Georgia's elections. You can question Ukraine's elections, Russia's elections. You can question Iranian elections, Syrian elections, but you can't question American elections. You can't question what is more sacred. Man, stop for me. What is more sacred for the Muslims? What is more sacred, Muhammad or the Holocaust? For the Christians, what is more sacred? And listen, YouTube, I'm not saying that the Holocaust didn't happen, because I don't want no flags on this now, because you already told me that you might delete the channel. I'm asking a question. I'm trying to provoke thought. And anytime a person provokes thought, that is not only good for me and that person, that is good for the platform and for the nation and for the world at large, okay? Because stagnant thought does not produce new ideas. Okay? Only the provoking of thought in real time can produce real useful ideas. So again, how is it that you can question the legitimacy of Jesus, but you can't question the legitimacy of the Holocaust? The things that are dear to the elite, you can't question. And my thing is this. I've always been taught this, that if your argument is sound, let them question it. You want them to question so that you can go into details to prove what you're saying. Do you know in Europe you can go to jail for questioning the Holocaust? I didn't know that until a year or so ago. How is that freedom of speech, freedom of thought, freedom of diversity? Right? Flamehead, he says Trump 24. If that's your, listen, if you want to put that in the chat, you can put that in the chat here. We invite differing opinions, okay? Nobody's going to slam you for that. Nobody's going to talk down to you on that. We're not going to, because I'm apolitical, so I don't care one way or the other. If Kamala Harris gets in or if Trump gets in, I'm apolitical, okay? So you can put that in the chat. And don't feel like there's going to be pressure on you when you put that in the chat, okay? Flamehead. All right. And Vera says, nothing wrong with questioning what actually happened in World War II. Nothing. That's how scientists find out the hidden things of yesteryear. And then they after they find out some of the hidden things of yesteryear, they then go into depth to find out how it relates to today so that they can blaze a path for tomorrow. But if you stymie thought, if you stymie opinion, you can not produce new ideas for the preservation and the prosperity of tomorrow. P1 says the Zionists will win the U.S. election as usual. Now, Flame, hold on one second. Something just popped up. Flamehead says, I respect that. He's talking about what I said. I respect that. I don't care what people think. Life was better under Trump. You know, and listen, nobody stopped Flamehead from speaking his truth. Nobody. Because we are all here and we all need to vent, you know, and we all need to get certain things off of our chest, and we all need to be able to express our opinions, long as it's respectable. Let him talk. He says, all I want to be, I just want all us to be free. To be free, one must have truth. Truth is the ultimate key to unlock misery, slavery, poverty, ignorance. Truth. GL 100. Ping 1 says Flamehead blazing me better for who? Yeah, see how now they're I'm gonna let them talk to each other and y'all, as you guys converse with each other, stay respectable. And Pedro says Ursula Heverbeck 95 has just been jailed in Germany for questioning the 6 mil figure. Oh, I got you, Pedro. I got you. I picked up what you put down. I got you. It's crazy. But these are supposed to be the beacons of freedom, hope, and light to the rest of the world. When they stymie different beliefs. I'm going to go back to something that I often say. Because people get mad at me. And I often bring this point up to people. Because I say, listen, why is everybody so bent out of shape? Because this person called you a name. Why? They have a right to do that so long, if they call you a negative name, so long as it's not in your space, so long as it's not being belligerent towards you, they have that right. And then there was an uproar on media about Orban, remember? About Orban, when they were saying, well, Orban, and you had those on the right defending Orban, and you had those on the left coming at Orban. And they used this as a method to get at Orban. They said that he is showing fascist undemocratic, racist tendencies when he said these words. And I don't know if he said it. All right, I gotta light one of my sage incense. Okay, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't do none of that. So I do sage to clear out this negative energy. And I'm doing this to clear out the negative energy. If there's any in the chat or if there's any on the net, we're gonna clear out the negative energy. All right. Anyway, so Orban was reported, I'm going to say reported to have said that he wanted to keep Hungary a majority white Christian nation. And I said, what the hell is wrong with that? What's wrong with that? That's what they're used to. That is their prerogative. That's what his people put him in office for. You can't go over there and tell that man and his people what to do. I only said that if we're going to use those guidelines, then we have to use it for South Africa, for Zimbabwe and others also. That's all. When Mugabe said the same thing, they sanctioned his nation, broke his currency, broke his economy. I do believe that man has the right to say that. People are so into their feelings, so sensitive today, that they don't even hear they don't hear the moral of the argument. All they want to do is argue. That's it. So let me go to the chat again. Let me see something. Joel says, Rashid, I would love to interview the Duran guy. I would love to have them on. They're welcome. It's an open invitation. We've had one on multiple times, Glenn Deason. And Glenn and I, we're cool. I think Glenn is a all right guy. I think he and his insight of the European situation is excellent. So and the other guys, they're welcome on the platform anytime they want to. We can discuss things. As a matter of fact, I'll let one of them moderate and we can talk. You know, they're welcome. Just like the other guests I've had on the show, they're welcome on the show. All right. Joe, Flying Crocodile says, yeah, Joel, that'll be great. Who knows? Hey, you never know what God has planned. Flying Crocodile says, salute to Rashid and all the chat. I want to go to, let's see. I want to go to something real quick. All right. This is what the world is saying about America right now, okay? I want you to listen to this. This is what the second most powerful person in Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, has to say about American elections. And I got a couple of clips that I'm going to play, okay, with Dmitry Medvedev. We're gonna go a little overtime, all right? We're gonna go a little overtime. So I've got a couple of clips. And I wish you would stay with me as we play these clips. Before we play Dmitry Medvedev, we're going to play the leader of the Russian Federation. All right. And this is a clip I had a while ago and I played, but the other clips are clips that I recently put on the dashboard. I think I downloaded them last night to the dashboard, so that just in case we talk about politics, which we would have these to show you what the world is saying about the so-called empire. But listen what Mr. Vladimir Putin has to say about America.
As we see that the efforts of the BRICS countries and other members of this organization and our supporters clash against the the forces of the so-called golden billion, the countries that oppose us, their elites are working against the interests of their own peoples. And in fact, today they're trying to enshrine a kind of order, a rules-based world order, rules that no one has seen, no one has ever discussed, and no one has ever passed or accepted those rules. These rules are written and adjusted every time in an ad hoc manner to suit a situation as it stands. It is done by people who believe that they are special and they have the right to dictate their will to the rest of the world. This is very much in tradition, in the vein of traditional colonialism.
So we played that, okay? Now where is? Hold on one second. All right, we have 50 concurrent viewers, and I'm looking on the screen and it says 24, but on my studio dashboard it says 50. So we have 50 people in here. Hit the like button, please. Whether we agree or not, just hit the like button. Let's be adults and be able to be agreeable to disagree if we disagree. Okay, so let's go further. I want to he talks about how America in the West thinks that they have the right to dictate everything to everybody. What do I tell you guys? Rules for thee, but not for me. Do as I say, not as I do. That's America's model. That's the Western world's model. But it couldn't be me. See, Russia still, some of the elite of Russia still wants to orient themselves towards the West. You would not get a drop of oil, a drop of gas from me. You wouldn't get corn oil. You wouldn't get a potash, I think that's what it's called, that fertilizer. You wouldn't get palladium. You wouldn't get platinum. You wouldn't get gold. You wouldn't get silver. You wouldn't get crumbs off the table if you sanctioned me. What the heck do I look like helping you further your economic ambitions and helping you live a life when your stated goal is to break my economy and to bring me to a strategic defeat? Have you lost your flipping mind? You wouldn't get squat from me. And I would tell everybody that I sell it to that if you sell it third party, I'm going to sanction you. Because this is not about money anymore. This is about principles. And if they get me, they're coming after you. So I would advise you to not be so greedy for money, which is fast losing its value, and stay on your square while we handle this over here. Because if you intervene by selling something that I sold to you, then I'm going to have to stop selling it to you. That's what a man would do. These games that they play, I don't like those international games because this is what leads to more conflict. When you tell a person where they stand with you, then they know how to deal with you. I don't hee and ha with people. If I got a beef with you, you ask anybody that I know, if we're in the same area, I'm going to come up to you and talk to you. Hey, can I have a few words? I remember one time, and let me share this with you before I go to this. I remember one time in jiu-jitsu, in MMA, excuse me. We had just finished, me and my children, we had been going from Nabard, which is our favorite martial arts. And we had been at Nabard from about 4 o'clock that morning. And we left Nabard, it was about 5 or 6 in the evening. Because we had to open up the academy and get it, and stuff like that. And so we went over to the MMA academy. That's where we would go in the evening. We would do kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, judo, grappling, all of that stuff. All right. So it was this one guy, he just did not, for some reason, he didn't care for me. I only spoke to him. He didn't care for me. But it really didn't bother me. But when he was passing messages like to my children, he would be like, I saw your father come up in here one day with his Taekwondo black belt and his gi on, because I also am a black belt in Taekwondo. And so I would defeat your father, and I told the guy, I said, that's just bluster, just leave it alone. But every day it was like he had something for. So one day we were on the mat, and he was one of the assistant instructors that day. And the guy actually fought for Bellator and A1 and the Russian, I forget the Russian fighting. I'm not going to say his name, because if I say his name and you guys go look him up, you'll laugh. All right. But anyway, buff guy, real buff guy. So this, the moral of the story, let me get to it. So the guys, and I told my children, I said, when I get a chance to, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to talk to him. So the children were done, and they were over sitting, doing what children do. And so the adults, we were down, and we were going over some new new jiu-jitsu moves. And so what happened was Mike, was it Mike that day? Yeah, it was Mike, I believe, was the head instructor. And Mike, I was asking Mike a question, and the guy evidently he came over. He felt like maybe I said something about it. So Mike was like, "Oh, he just asked me this." So I walked back up. I doubled back. I said, "You just the person I need to talk to." And he's like, "Huh?" And he was trying to walk away, and I grabbed his hand. My children and everybody, I said, grab his hand, shake his hand. I said, "Hey, we need to step to the side. I need to talk to you for a minute," And I asked him, I said, I hear you keep saying things to my children. You don't go to them. Because at the time, my children was like 10 and 13 or 10 and 12 or something like that. And I said, you don't go to them. If you have something to say, you come to me, because you violate when you do that. So let me talk to you man to man, and let me tell you what you will not do. You will not talk to my children about me. If you have a problem, you talk to me about me. Another thing, I heard that you said you wanted to spar me. Wait a minute. I said, Mike, get everybody out of the way. Everybody out of the way. Like that. I said, now, there's nothing but space and opportunity out there. I said, don't let it fool you. I will, let me edit that on here. I will beat you, and beat you bad. Don't ever get it twisted. And from that point on, the guy, he had a silent respect for me. But it took me to go up to this is what I'm saying. People don't do that. They like to gossip and all of this. Go up to the person, talk to them, tell them the disagreement that you have, and handle it. They play these political games, and it costs the lives of thousands and millions of people around the world because you guys are playing these political games. No, you will not receive any no oil from me. You will all remove your sanctions and then pay me compensation for the loss that I incurred for the sanctions. And when we're square on that, you can get some oil from me. When you pay me for compensation for all of the losses that my economy incurred for your sanctions, when we're square on that, we can move beyond that, and then you can start importing my oil, my gas, my fertilizer, my sunflower oil, the coal, the platinum, the palladium, all of the resources that I was selling before. Once we're square and you pay me for incurring these losses, then but this funny money game where I'm going to sell this oil and then they refine it and sell it around. No, man, no. Don't play those type of games at all. But Medvedev, this is what he has to say on the elections. All right, this is 2 minutes.
Well, Russia, the Soviet Union, and the Russian Empire existed while different U.S. presidents were in office, so we shouldn't overestimate their influence on global processes. They do hold a lot of sway, but they're not gods who rule the world. At the end of the day, we don't really care if it's Kamala or Donald. We're absolutely sincere when we say it's up to the Americans. They need to make this choice. However, I must say, and I agree with you, that there is a difference, and it's not even in the candidates' attitude towards Russia, especially given the fact that their positions can be self-contradictory. For example, Trump just said that he killed the Nord Stream pipeline and whatnot. We get that. There's a presidential campaign going on, so they have to make provocative comments and so on. And he makes them all the time, burnishing, among other things, his own image. You know, all the American let me paraphrase that. A non-mainstream politician can't become a U.S. president. Trump is the least mainstream of all mainstream politicians because he's never worked for the government, and yet he's still part of the mainstream. That's why he's not going to do anything that could be frowned upon by what's known as the deep state. I'm not talking about some kind of conspiracy. I'm talking about a network of very influential politicians, business people, bankers, etc., who can have a major influence on the current developments. As a result, it's always going to be a mainstream figure at the helm of the U.S., whatever his or her name is. One could be more unorthodox. Another one could have less experience. Still, there's a difference. Let me explain. If the new president ardently pours fuel on the fire of the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, it would be a very bad policy, because this would be a road to hell. This would really be a road to World War III. Both of these candidates must be aware of that. Be that Mr. Trump, who has been in the president's seat and should have an idea about how these things work, or Kamala Harris, who, shall we say, doesn't have much experience and gets criticized because of that. However, she has worked as vice president. Whoever makes decisions that will help protract this war is going to make a very dangerous mistake.
So, did you hear what Medvedev said? Pretty much in line with what I told you. The only difference is one may cut around the edges and the other may not. Because to ascend to that position, you have to have some pretty powerful backers. This is what I'm telling you. This is Walt Disney. All of this stuff is Walt Disney. It's imagination, imaginary stuff. To believe that one is so free and independent that they can do this, this, and this, and this without answering to those power backers who control different areas of the government and have their implants displayed. Well, Trump will drain the swamp. Did he drain it the first time around? As a matter of fact, half his crew that he brought in was part swamp. Kamala will drain the swamp. She is the swamp. So Medvedev, who was the Russian prime minister and the only other president of the Russian Federation outside of President Vladimir Putin, told you exactly what I was telling you guys. I've been saying it. Both to even get this position, you have to be compromised. You understand? I invite you to go back on the Red Pill Diaries on this channel and go to one or two of the earlier interviews that I've done with Professor Kevin Barrett. Okay. Professor Kevin Barrett goes into the connections of these people and where they get the money from, where they got their connections from, the businesses started, all of that. It's on there. You know Kevin Barrett, one of the co-founders of Scholars for 911 Truth. And I've talked with the other co-founder of Scholars for 911 Truth, and you can ask him about me, and he has nothing but good words to say about me, and that is James, or we call him Jim Fetzer. This channel was suspended twice, and then it was deleted for interviews with Jim Fetzer. I was Scott Bennett, the former psychological warfare officer. He was the head of the U.S. Psychological Warfare Department. My channel was deleted because of an interview I did with him. My channel was suspended because of of another interview that I did for him. And then I was warned by a certain platform. Am I saying YouTube? No, I'm not saying YouTube. But I was warned by a certain platform, wink, wink, to tone it down with that guy. Listen, I got the paperwork to prove what I'm saying. I'm telling you. So I'm telling you that these people are in bed with bankers. The bankers are in bed with the propagandists. The propagandists are in bed with the politicians. And it's a ever-revolving cycle. So I'm not speaking outside of the realm or my depths when I'm telling you this. I talk to a lot of these people behind closed doors. They tell you that on this show. We had a conversation. We did. As a matter of fact, when I was doing the show yesterday, I looked down. My guy, my friend, I got to bring this up. My guy, my friend, outside of the show, Carl Zar hit me up. Man, we got to do another live. So you guys got to check us out Friday. We'll be doing a live. Carl Zar back on the platform Friday. Boom. Now, let's go into another clip. So tomorrow, join us also. But it'll be tomorrow evening, 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time. We'll have our Russia Today journalist, Helen Beninsky, on the platform, okay? Boom. So let me go into another clip. I want you to hear, and we're going to end it. So these are short clips, so I can do these. And matter of fact, I'll do one more. And then we'll end it because I've had an hour and 30 minutes of your time, okay? And then tomorrow, I'll play a couple more of the clips and ask Helen her position on these, okay? So that we can keep going. I respect all of you guys' time and everything. But let me I might play 1 or 2 clips, okay? Don't hold me to that. So listen, I want you to, listen to this.
Americans always try to rule by creating crises on the planet. This was the case, well, at least in the 20th century, and it continues that way in the 21st. When the Soviet Union collapsed, America felt that it had no equal at all after the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact. So the more crises they create, the better they think the situation is for America. Well, they've created a crisis with these sanctions. What happens? It's all very simple. The Americans make money. America, as always, feels good. It makes money from weapons supplies and by allocating money to its defense industry. Sure enough, some of that money gets stolen in Ukraine or somewhere else. Still, though, it means that the defense industry and a lot of other economic mechanisms in the United States continue to work. Moreover, a lot of businesses have been persuaded to move over to the United States from Europe, where it has become unprofitable to work. That is, the Americans are getting what they want at the price of more blood and casualties. This is why Americans are engaging in feeding the war. But that system is coming to an end. That's why they feel the world is falling out from under their feet, and they're resisting it in every way possible. You've mentioned BRICS here, and there's also the SCO, as well as other regional unions. There are Asian unions that are very important in today's world and where America has no say at all. It is seen as hostile there, even though those unions were not originally created as anti-American. In fact, I find the idea of the Global South and these kind of unions very promising. Why? The Americans and their satellites keep saying, you are violating the rule-based order. But when you ask them what that order is, and I've deliberately picked through legal text, studied them, it's incomprehensible. It's not clear what the order is and who approved it. It's really just an idea of the United States and its allies, well, mostly in NATO, of how best to do business in the world. So it's not a written document, not an international convention, it's not a UN act or any other act, it's not the UN Charter, it's just something, an order that they think is right. And once you're out of this order, you're a perpetrator. Of course, this is a very unstable system that is bound to collapse sooner or later. And those inside that system will suffer the most from its collapse. I'm absolutely sure about that.
So this man is giving you some gems here. He's dropping gems for you. It's up to you to pick the gems up and polish them off. And carry them back to your home as a store of wealth to protect you from the ultimate disaster that is not coming, but is underway right now. I don't think some of you understand what is going to happen. What is going to happen, as Gregory Manarino likes to say, will be biblical. We're talking about Mad Max type stuff. Because think about this, when America has enjoyed herself as the #1 nation, when she has benefited and when she has lived in luxury, while everybody else wanting to be like her, when her freedoms disappear and all of the privileges that she once had, this will cause anger to rise up in her midst. And the people will be thinking about the freedoms and the privileges that they used to have. And this is the recipe for civil insurrection and civil strife and civil war. So you think about this. Nobody addresses this, and I'll say this, okay? America has all of these bases around the world. She is in every corner of the globe. These people are trained for war, trained. Now, when the dollar implodes or the economy starts declining much faster and America is starting to contract, she has to pull back some of her commitments and pull some of the military back home. Now think about this. This is an aspect that nobody talks about. And this is one of the greatest threats to America. So let me put it on your mind. So as these returning soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines return home, some of them with PST, and some of them angry, when they come home and they're like, I can't get a job. I can't get my benefits. I'm having problems with this, right? This will be the worst problem that America has ever faced, because these people are trained for war. And what do you think people who are trained for war will do when they're looking at their houses being foreclosed on, their cars being foreclosed on, after being willing to give their lives on foreign soil for what those people in office say that is American freedom and all of this stuff? And they're looking at their children begging for some food. This means a war then at home. And this is the greatest threat that America faces within her own borders that no one pays attention to. She has another threat, the destruction of our educational system. All of this is leading to the downfall of the American British Empire. Because when we talk about America, remember, the UK mirrors it back and vice versa. So with the collapse of the dollar, the collapse of her economy, she's going to have to make some real hard choices. And when these people who are trained for war, who have been sitting overseas, and who have been fed this line that they are fighting for America's freedom, have to come back home and the benefits are cut. The health is cut. I'm talking about mental treatment and physical treatment for the ailments that they have gotten from their stay over abroad. When their families are existing on food aid and food stamps, and then they can't get that anymore, and the paychecks start dwindling. What do you think that this will do to the American Republic? We have all of the recipes for war. Vera says, Dmitry Orlov is a great analyst as well. One of my favorites. Yeah. I like some of the stuff he says too. And he's so calm when he says it. Hey, he's real calm when he says it. Listen, what do you think is going to happen? You're not going to go to the ice cream truck and get an ice cream cone. How are you going to get it? Say if you could, how are you going to get it when all of the things are shut down? Because remember, America is pivoting to Asia. China is America's largest lender, largest trade partner, largest importer, largest exporter too, and largest banker, all right? And largest investor in infrastructure. 93 to 95% of all products that are on U.S. shelves come from China. Now, when you pivot to China and you're trying to make war with China to prevent China's breakout capacity, and China embargoes you, boom goes the dynamite. Boom goes the dynamite. So your leaders are leading you down a slippery slope of decay, rot, and decline. Like that rapper 50 Cent says, I remember I was seeing a clip on him the other day. You better do something, baby. You better believe it. You better tell them it's time to repent, time for them to make amends for all of the hell that they've caused to all of the people that they have encountered. There can be no forgiveness without repentance and humility and contrition. The day of the downfall of America is underway, and nobody likes to talk about it because it's not pretty. But maybe along the way in the decline and fall of America, you can drop a few gems to other people that can prepare them and help them in the fall and decline of the Western world. On that note, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me on the most powerful platform for truth, bar none, on God's green earth. This is your platform for education elevation, and edification. This is the Red Pill Diaries. And I'm your host, your brother, and your friend Rashid. And I want to say to you right now, right here, remember, it doesn't cost anything to be nice to somebody. It doesn't cost anything to have a good word or two for people. It doesn't cost any of that. So do right by others, not because somehow you're going to gain something from it or because other people are watching. Do right because it's the right thing to do. And even when no one else is watching, God Almighty has his eyes stayed on you. On that note, know that I love each and every one of you who loves truth, but know that the love that I have for you will always pale in comparison to the love that God has for you. Until we next speak again, stay strong, stay true, but above all things, stay righteous. Hey, mama, your baby boy loves you more than life. Deuces, everybody. Thank you all. We're out of here. Peace.